So first, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I know everything's been crazy. I've been trying to get out to the district offices and just really see how things are going out in the district offices. I fully recognize everyone's been all in and really helping and supporting each other, and that's what we really wanted to see. So really want to acknowledge that, and wanted to really hand it off to Deborah. Portia Usher is with us today, as well as Daniel Little. So everyone knows Deborah. She's our interim SSA director, and Daniel Little is the current DFCS director, who's our incoming SSA director. And they both wanted to come on board today and just really acknowledge everyone and say thank you, and really acknowledge really just how much work has been going into this CalSAS transition. So I'm going to go ahead and just hand it over to Deborah to say a few words, and then to Dan. So Deborah.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I don't know if I can speak.
Can we maybe pause the slide deck for a second while we have Deborah and Dan speaking?
So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being with us this afternoon. Let me just ask all of you, first of all, to take a deep breath with me. And also, this is to just say kudos to yourself for the remarkable job you have done in transitioning to CalSAS. Having done these kind of migration of technology systems, I know they are not easy. They take a lot of patience. They take a lot of time, and you learn a lot through it. You find yourself educating the folks who developed the system, sometimes more than you educated yourself, or they're educating you. And having listened in to most of the calls, I know the focus that you have put in over these weeks and helping to make this system a better system for the work that we're doing for our clients. I just want to applaud you and say I really, really appreciate it, and appreciate the frustration and also the wins, because along with the frustration comes some of the wins, because the wins are you improving the system. So I really appreciate it. I also want to just take this opportunity to thank you while I've been here these almost 7 years for your support throughout the years, but I'm also happy to be able to turn it over to Daniel Little, who is known to you as well. So again, kudos for the job well done. While we're not 100% there, you surely have made it 100% better as a system. So thank you so much for that. And I'll turn it over to Daniel.
Thank you, Deborah. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to be able to be here. First and foremost, just thanks to all the incredible work that's been going on. Angela has been a huge champion for all of you, and really has been sharing the incredible amount of partnership and collaboration as you all undertake this really kind of immense systemic change. So over the next several months, I'm just looking forward to getting out and then getting to meet as many of the programs as possible, just to make sure that I can continue to support the work that you all been doing. And again, just immense appreciation for the significant lift, as well as the focus still on the families that are being served. So again, thank you all. Congratulations to getting where you're at today. And I know that there's still opportunities and still going to be successes in the future. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Angela, for inviting me.
Thanks so much, Dan. Thank you so much, Deborah. Appreciate both of you so much and all the support that you guys have shown. Really couldn't have done it without your support. And Deborah, thank you so much. You've been so supportive along the way. There's definitely been roadblocks, and you've just been instrumental in removing those roadblocks. So thank you so much. And of course, you know, we've got an SSA Live, we've got a celebration just to really honor you and all the support. And I can't express that enough. So really want to thank you. And Dan, looking forward so much to your leadership coming. Okay, we do have some slides as well, just to express our appreciation for really everyone's efforts. This, you know, I know I keep saying this, but it's true. This is a monumental milestone for those that were around during CalWIN. Now we're moving to CalSAS. You know, this has been, I think, a better transition, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been a hard one. So we again did want to pause and just express our appreciation for that. I've been expressing this has been a multi-department effort with CATS, TSS, staff development, DSR, program policy, reporting team. I know I probably missed some people, but it's been multi-department, but I really, our CNCs, business process, DTAC, FMS, but I don't want to forget to really make sure that we're acknowledging everybody in DEBS. This past month, since February 27th and the month before, how much you guys have really supported each other. And the morale was, you know, adrenaline high, and now it's settling into the reality of, okay, it's still going. It's still going to be time before we're stabilized and feeling as comfortable as we were before we went live. So we want to take a moment and really appreciate you. So let's go ahead and queue up. I know there was a lot of really loud music. There was a reason for that. So let's keep that slide deck going and really just take that moment to appreciate really all of you guys and that effort and support of each other. So yeah, if we can get the music queued back up and get that slide deck going again, that would be great. Thanks, everybody. Apologize. I just have to say, we weren't quite sure what was going on with the music. The music was much more soothing in our practice run. But I hope people take away from that what was intended, which was really to just thank everybody and really acknowledge the efforts of really all the staff in DEBS in particular, for really the multidisciplinary, multi-department team efforts that have been going on to make CalSAWS go live. But even since then, since we went live. Thank you everyone who contributed to the slide deck. We will be sending the slide deck out afterwards because I realize it might have been hard to read the sentiments that went into it. And I know, and I recognize the music was a little bit distracting. So I hope that you really were able to take the sentiment that was intended, that went into the slide and the effort that went into those slides. So really thank you everyone. Thank you for supporting each other. Thank you for supporting your supervisors, your managers, your CNCs. Thank you for supporting the staff. Just really thank you, and wanted to acknowledge how much effort has gone into it. The adrenaline, when the adrenaline wore off, still going at it, and recognizing that that journey isn't over. So just really wanted to take the moment to acknowledge that. So thank you for that. On to the next segment of our CalSAWS agenda. And honestly, I did recognize one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the session. There was an SSA telework memo that came out last week. So I do recognize that, and I do want to protect some time at the end of our agenda to make sure to have some Q&A about that telework memo, because I realize that that might be of top of mind to many people. So we are going to protect about 10 or 15 minutes, sometime at the end of this session, to make sure that we are being timely and answering any questions. But before we go there, I do want to make sure to cover what was agendized for today's meeting, which is CalSAWS post-go live support. Because like we're saying, acknowledging that everyone has been tremendous and wonderful in supporting each other. And we wanted to acknowledge that, but we also want to make sure that everyone is aware of the post-go live support, what's available to you, what is out there. So we wanted to dedicate today's session to make sure that you knew, and you knew where to go for questions. So we have our speaker, Jason Young, is going to go through that today. Then, just as we have been for about the last year, we have our panel of experts. They are here today also to make sure that they're answering questions. And so you are aware of what those post-go live support resources are. So we're going to go ahead with that agenda today. Jason's going to come on now and speak to that. Then we'll have Jason, Sabrina, Heather, Jerome here to speak, and Olivia, can't forget program policy, here to do our Q&A panel to address post-go live support resources. And then we will protect a amount of time at the end of the agenda to make sure that we have some open space for any questions about the SSA telework memo that came out, because we do want to be timely and make sure that I'm sure that's top of mind for many people, that we're able to address any questions there. So I wanted to make sure to address that as well. So with that said, I'm going to invite Jason onto the virtual microphone, so to say, so that we can go through CalSAW's post-go live support resources. Jason, it's all yours.
Thanks, Angela. Appreciate the invite, and thanks again for having me a guest as always. And I had the chance to visit with all of you last time in February before we were going live. Last time we talked, we mentioned the different go live support resources that are available to you. We wanted to circle back this time around and recap some of our experiences. Now it's week 7, if you can imagine it, week 7 into go live. And we'll talk about what we've experienced so far in terms of the sheer monumental feat that you all have undertaken as DEBS. And then also talk about, as Angela mentioned, the resources that continue to be available to you all. And just to obviously to recognize that we continue to experience CalSAW as we continue to learn about it, and wanted to share the continually evolving nature of it. So we can go to the first slide, and I wanted to share at the outset, in this first slide, share what, just by the numbers of how impressive you all have, how impressive of a feat it has been for CalSAWs. So if we go to the next slide, yep, and maybe the next one as well. Okay, yep. So we go ahead to the next slide, please. And so this is very impressive in terms of just the sheer fortitude that you all have shown during a very challenging, very large scale go live. As Angela mentioned, anybody who went through the original CalWin go live, equally monumental. I think the number that stands out to me the most is the 925 average peak users daily. So what that means is, of the 1,300 or so dev staff that are in the department, at any given moment, at any given day, there are 900 people, could be 900 people logged into CalSAWs. So that is like the majority of the department logged into CalSAWs at peak time during the day. And that's been very constant. We saw from the very beginning of go live. So you all have shown the fortitude, the sheer willpower to go through this implementation. And to me, that's very impressive. Equally impressive is that, you all have been really engaged with the go live, in that, you're experiencing obviously the peaks and valleys of the go live. You've seen things that need to be reported, and there have been like 1,296 Gadwin tickets opened and then closed since the beginning of go live. So of the issues that are reporting, we're showing progress of working through those tickets and resolving issues. So that's equally impressive. So it's not just motion, but it's progress. People are doing the work, but then also solving problems. And then the other thing that's also impressive to me is that, we have an advanced virtual support line, and that's the managers and supervisors have access to that. So those are the advanced virtual support folks from the CalSAWs project who are available. And those are really reserved for, like advanced issues or issues that can't be kind of resolved on the spot. And so since, we started engaging them, as of, the last time we ran the numbers, 468 issues or questions have been resolved through that route as well. What isn't captured here is all the questions, informal questions that you all are having in teams, questions that you are talking to your supervisors or managers with. A lot of the work obviously is being done there as well in terms of solving problems, answering questions. And that's a number that not easily captured, but definitely want to recognize that that's been probably very impressive as well. And then also adding a little bit of flavor here, the kinds of questions that have come up so far and that have come up to the advanced virtual support team are eligibility related, no surprise, obviously learning more about system functionality. And then around 11% were fiscal and EBT related. That was probably a reflection of our early days, first couple of weeks where we're having some benefit issuance struggles. And obviously we were able to work through, continue to work through those. That represents some of the questions coming through. And the last part, a significant portion were about CalHears in terms of EHITs and DERS coming through, how that works. So those are the kind of flavors of questions, if you're wondering, the kind of questions that were coming through through the chat or through the virtual support. So before I leave this slide, I just want to say that, again, very impressive go live experience that everyone kind of jumped in with both feet, and the numbers support it, that nobody from Santa Clara, nobody from DEBS shied away from CalSAWS at all, jumped in, grabbed by the horns, if you will. So as we evolve, so obviously everyone went through training. So the next slide, if we'll move to the next slide, we'll show what are the resources that are available to folks. So you all went to training, you all went to practice labs prior to go live. And none of these are surprises. I think everyone's familiar with these, but definitely want to recap the main resources that are available to folks as they continue to deepen their learning around CalSAWS, get a little bit more information about how the system works, the little quirks, the little features, understanding them more. So these are probably the most prominent, most reliable ones that you all can lean on. Chewable bytes, as you're familiar with, these were available back in the CalWin days, but they've been adapted for CalSAWS. So we have chewable bytes for CalSAWS. And they provide a quick instruction for frequently used CalSAWS functions. And the benefit here compared to the training materials, as you probably know, is that there are step-by-step screenshots. So if you're ever wondering how to do something in CalSAWS, you can actually refer to a chewable byte and you can see the screenshots and the step-by-step for how they work. And that's definitely, we've heard pretty good feedback that that's an important function, because when people are visual, people are hands-on, and that's super helpful when people are trying to accomplish an important task. One other item compared to chewable bytes are fact sheets. So these are also available on the CATS website, and they provide additional detail focused around certain topics such as imaging. And these are compared to the chewable bytes, these are documents created by the CalSAWS project, and they give a little bit more insight in terms of how the system works. So now that we've kind of lived with this thing for 7 weeks, I'm sure you all are asking, not only how do I do this, but how does the CalSAWS logic, what is CalSAWS trying to do here? Why am I getting this result? How can I avoid this particular error? Or how can I keep this particular document out of this workflow queue? And so that's what fact sheets actually address, in terms of giving you a little bit more in terms of not only how to do something, but how does CalSAWS work? What's the logic behind the system? And these, again, as I mentioned, these are posted along with the chewable bytes on the CATS website. And then lastly, also on the CATS website are Yellow Banner case resolution guides. And for anybody who's seen the Yellow Banner on their case, this is exactly that. That gives you the mismatch reason, and then you pull up the specific document that says, so for example, aid code mismatch. You pull up the aid code mismatch case resolution guide. Again, gives you the step-by-step instructions on how to resolve that particular yellow banner item. Okay, and then on the next slide, I'll just round it out in terms of comments that what CalSAWS is constantly evolving, and that we are still in an adaptation mode from how business was done in CalWin to how we're doing business now in CalSAWS. And so CalSAWS is continuing here they continue to take the feedback from counties like Santa Clara about how do we implement system enhancements on a monthly basis to focus on county automation. So as other CalWin counties come on board, obviously the chorus of voices will grow of what kind of functionality, what things you were all used to in CalWin that we need to ask for in CalSAWS. And so that'll be considered by the CalSAWS project. Specifically, and Santa Clara is advocating for system enhancements that improve overall usability. So things like, I know for a fact, we've gotten specific feedback around the timeout period for the system. So a lot of counties are offering that feedback. Santa Clara is advocating for that as well, to lengthen the system timeout period to make it a little more usable, and also chiming in about enhancements around document routing and how task management works. So that's just a snapshot of how a few things are, how CalSAWS will continue to evolve and adapt to how DEBS is doing business. So it's a process now of identifying those enhancements, and then continually to work with the consortium to implement those enhancements. But just wanted to leave with the thought that CalSAWS, though you all have jumped in with both feet into CalSAWS, it's not static. The system will continue to evolve, and the teams are definitely working hard to make that happen. I think with that, Angela, I can turn it back to you, and we can open up to our panel.
Great, thanks, Jason. So let's call up our panel to the virtual deck. We've got Heather Mitchell, Jerome Graham, Sabrina Mays, Jason as well, and Olivia Cuevas. And we'll open up to questions for the panel on CalSAWS Go Live or post Go Live support resources. And I know usually we just open it up to the audience to use the chat feature. I know we're in meeting format today, so it's a little bit easier. We tried to use the chat feature or the calling people up if they want to do live questions, which is a little harder in the webinar format. But with the meeting format, it's a little bit easier. More people want to use the chat feature. If you have questions about post Go Live support, feel free. Now's your opportunity.
Looks like
We
like
got
have
a question. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
Hi, Maria. Questions from Maria. It's how often will makeup trainings, ILTs be offered for staff returning from leave of absence? So that goes to me. So we are going to have a consistent, we had a 1 week of training already for those folks. There will be at the end of this month, some additional trainings offered. And it's really based on, it will be monthly, and it's based on once the person returning from leave has completed their web-based trainings. And so once you've done that and worked with your supervisor will let staff development know, and then we will set you up for the trainings. But there will always be an opportunity for CalSAWS training on a monthly. And then,
thank you.
The next question is from ER. We hear that CalWorks case manager partners like YWCA, schools, and ABODE do not have access to CalSAWS to make case comments and journaling. The rumor is that the workaround will be for them to email case managers to enter these for them. It is already impossible for ECs with full caseloads to fit their own CalSAWS duties into an 8-hour day. What is being discussed to solve this issue?
So there's a process for getting access to the system. So based on what they were approved for to have access, that's the access they have. So if case commenting or journaling is needed, managers should be reaching out either to just reach out to us and let us know, and we'll work with our partners to see if that journaling is required. So there's a process to it. So just have your managers reach out to me and we'll connect.
This is from Diane. When will the updated 2259 be available in the different languages? Heather, is that a you question?
Yeah, so there's change requests out there and languages are going to be added. There's no date right now, Diane.
This question is from Adrian. When are we going to get proper approval NOAAs with the different approval denial reasons? Have the CalSAWS counties really gotten by for a year doing free-form NOAAs with no pre-populated paragraphs and welfare codes?
So the way that CalSAWS was developed, they don't have all the denial reasons and approval reasons like CalWIN has. So this is their current process. We are submitting a change request, not that it's going to be approved, as all counties have to approve, and the design is a lot different than what CalWIN has. So right now, the functionality that there is, that's what we have to work with for now.
It looks like we don't have any more questions. Should we move on to the next?
Okay. So if there's no more questions, before we move on, so it looks like we have the video and we've corrected the technical issues.
There's some questions coming in. Sorry, Angela.
no,
I think
thanks,
it's just
Sabrina.
taking people a while to type
Thank
it
you.
in. So
And actually, so I was also going to say, let's go to those questions, but I also wanted to queue up to get your juices flowing for the panel. If there's anything that you guys think you want to make sure people know that are common questions you hear, I want to queue you guys up to give you the opportunity to comment on that as well. So thanks, Sabrina. Yes, go to those questions and definitely want to make sure we're going at the right pace so people have time to put questions in. And then I also want to put that out to the panel that if you guys have things that you just commonly hear that you feel would be good to cover, definitely want to make sure that I have you guys put your knowledge out there as well. So I'll put that out there for thoughts as well. And then I'm going to go off screen.
all right, so popping back into the questions, this one is from Margaret. Her question is, where did you say the yellow banner case resolutions guide is?
It's located on the CATS webpage.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat. So and we'll send it out as well.
The
Thank
next
you.
question for the welfare code list for the manual NOAAs, Diane, that's being worked on. Do you know how long? And then the next question you could read, Sabrina.
Oh, okay, so do we know how long? No, that's the answer to that one. Got it. And so the next question is from Ro. Do you know how long it will be for the system to auto-generate our clients' benefits, ongoing cases, without us having to manually generate their benefits? We did a high number of cases April month that did not auto-generate.
Yeah, that was due to the SAR-7 issue that we ran into with the SAR-7s that were issued via CalWIN, but benefits should be being issued monthly per staggered date, etc. So you shouldn't be running into that issue any longer. And if you do, please create a ticket before doing a manual EDBC if you start to see that happen again.
Okay. This is from Pamela. I don't think this is CalSAWS. It's Medi-Cal only workers due to process CalFresh applications due to ratified site letter. When will these workers? Yeah, so that's not CalSAWS related. So we'll skip that one, Pamela, but you can check in with your office management and they should have information on that. Maureen, she says, I have a positive comment to share towards the CalSAWS application. CalSAWS is a very user-friendly application. There are times we have experienced glitches, but thankful our leads and supervisor has a workaround to resolve the issue. Awesome. Wrote, SAR-7s were not due.
So
That was from-
there must have been other issues with the case, but just FYI, all benefits are auto issued through the system based on their stagger date. And that's how the system's supposed to function. So please, if you have any cases that aren't doing that, please create a ticket.
Diane, the uploads from Get CalFresh have been grainy since CalSAWS. Has this been reported?
Yes, that's been reported. We're waiting to see if there's any, if it's something to do with when the documents are uploaded or what the issue is on why it's grainy. And if you have any examples, please create a ticket so we can have additional examples to share with the state.
Anything additional? I was trying to think if there's anything that we could add. Heather, I'm not sure if you have anything.
No, we're just working through all of the tickets and issues that are being escalated.
Okay, thank you, guys. Do you guys have any thoughts on common questions you're seeing that you want to, that you feel are important things that you should share? Or
Right
feeling like people
now,
are really interacting a lot and you feel like that's
yeah,
sort of
right now
covering it?
for us, we're seeing all kinds of different issues and concerns. I think the SAR-7 issue was the #1 issue that we're still working through, as there was many cases that SAR-7s weren't received and payments and issuance were issued, and then or they received it and now the case is discontinuing in April. So that's an issue that we're working right now, and we have a lot of tickets on that and working with a project to resolve that. But other than that, we're just getting there's no like common question right now. I think the SAR-7 one is the biggest common question.
Thanks, Heather. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this was helpful for everyone. We definitely want to try to make sure that lines of communication stay open and flowing. I really want to thank the panel. You guys are always so gracious to come on board and answer questions. I hope this is helpful for everyone. I know we're up to 166 people, so I hope that these DEBS Connects are helpful and having the panel of experts here just collaborating on answers. You know, always asking for feedback. So if there's things we can do to improve the DEBS Connect in this format, always welcome and hopeful that you feel able to express that feedback. Thomas is our main coordinator. He's got a whole team behind him with Anita Torres, Anita Casillas, Mariela Moncayo. So definitely always welcome for feedback on how we can make these DEBS Connect sessions better. So hopefully this information was helpful. So thank you, team, our panelists, for answering questions and participating and providing this great information to our podcast participants. Okay, so with that, I think we can probably move to our next segment. So thank you so much, everyone. We do have our video. So the video that was having some telework, so telework is our next section, but we do have the video we wanted to play briefly. That was having some technical difficulties earlier. We have the actual video, not in the slide deck. So we can play it now because there was quite a few bureaus that didn't get played. So we wanted to go ahead and just briefly play that so that everyone can actually see every single bureau. So I'm going to cue that up, and I think it's Fabian, our technical support. If you can go ahead and play that now, that would be great. Thank you. Sorry, I was on mute there. Thank you so much. Thank you again to the DEBS Connect team. Thank you for TSA's support for scrambling to get that fixed so we were able to play it within the time we had today. We will send that out also following the meeting. Thank you to all the managers and supervisors for collaborating to pull that together. We just really wanted to make sure that we took the time to just acknowledge you all. I know that's a small piece in the grand scheme because of how much work has been going on. But we just, it's important to pause and just acknowledge everything that's been going on through this transition. And I recognize the transition's not over, but it's important to pause and just acknowledge everything that's been going on. So now with that, I do recognize that an SSA memo came out, I think it was about last Thursday, so a little less than a week ago, on telework. So I do realize that there's probably questions and people are digesting that memo. In the memo, it did say to expect some further communication on timeline and next steps from each of your department directors. I am putting that together because obviously we want some additional clarification. So I'm planning to get a memo out on Monday just to give some additional guidance. So recognizing we have the DEBS Connect today, I did want to open it up just to see if there's questions and just make sure that I'm being transparent and that you feel that lines of communication are open. So I just got that memo myself on Thursday. Yes, there were communications with 70 West or county administration. My perception, I can only speak for myself, is that, likely it wasn't a complete surprise. But of course, actually having the memo in hand and needing to digest it and understand the next steps is important. So I wanted to make sure that I was opening up this opportunity since we have DEBS Connect today, just to open the floor and see if there's questions that I can answer or concerns that people have that I can answer. So I'm gonna just open that up and see if people have questions. Okay, let's see. Just give me a second to read. I see something in the chat. Okay, so Andrew's saying, are you as agency department managers willing to push county management to allow our agency department workers with the flexibility of continuing telework with minimal days in the office? We've been working under this model for 3 years with the tangible positive results. Customer service has not been negatively impacted and actually improved. I would like to hear a response from all agency and department management and on this call concerning this question. So Andrew, I'm gonna just be frank. It's not really realistic, obviously, that all agency and department management are gonna be able to answer you on this meeting. I'm not being snarky, it's just, I can answer from me, so that's what I'm gonna do. I don't disagree that the last 3 years we've been under a public health emergency, and due to COVID, we were required to go into teleworking. Pretty much everyone who could teleworked. That was a safety consideration. At this point now, that public health emergency has ended, and now we are not required to do that. The county philosophy strongly values in-person interaction. So at this point, the county is providing guidance, directing for all the county agencies and departments to gain consistency and really return to what the teleworking policy and agreement actually is. So that's where that SSA memo came from. And at this point, we are all, I'll say required to follow suit. So that's what we are going to be doing and what we will be doing. So what I can answer is the timelines and next steps that we will be doing to do that. Now, I don't say that without realism and empathy on that this will be a big transition. I also recognize the benefits of what we have learned from that, because we all recognize that for years, and I will say years, before we were forced to do it, we've all been considering and thinking about how to do it. And then suddenly with COVID, we did it. We did it literally, within a couple of weeks. And we learned a lot from it. I want to make sure that we don't lose what we learned. So, the county philosophy definitely values those tangible benefits about the in-person, but I want to make sure we don't lose the benefits of what we learned from teleworking. So we are following the guidance from the county administration, which was outlined in the SSA memo. So my charge right now is to make sure we execute and have the next steps and implementation and timeline, and we do that smoothly. I want to make sure that our department staff are supported in that, because I recognize it's a very big transition. That's what we will be doing. I will get a memo out on Monday so that there's some more details on just the logistics on how to get that done. I'm not sure that I thoroughly answered your question, but that's what I hope is helpful in terms of what I hope to be able to accomplish, which is support our people through that transition. Let me see, I see something from James. So James is saying, why is in-person interaction so valued? Is there any reason to believe in-person interactions have any greater benefit in well-being, mental health, and our culture than the online interactions we've had in the last 3 years? Is there data to show it's been negative? So, James, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm also going to go beyond that a little bit. I don't think anyone's saying that it's been negative. I personally believe that we've gotten some very positive lessons learned from the last 3 years. I think what we're saying is that that the county does value in-person interactions, and they're not saying that they do not value what we've learned in the last 3 years. So there is a balance, or I believe there's a balance in leveraging both what we've learned in the past 3 years, but also that the county philosophy has, because we've done so much teleworking in the last 3 years, that some of the benefits of in-person have not been maximized as much as they were when we were fully in person. Now, remember, we're not going back to 100% in person the way we used to. We still will be leveraging telework, not as much as we have been in the last 3 years, because the last 3 years, telework was maximized due to health and safety, the COVID-19. So the county's returning to a pre-pandemic, air quotes, the normal stage. And that's what the county is asking us to do. And James, I see you're saying explicitly said that in-person is better. And James, that's where I was going to go a step further. I'm not here to debate about in-person is better or teleworking is better or not, or even my personal views on that. What I am here to say, and I think something's being shared on screen that should not be shared. Whoever's sharing the screen, thank you. So I'm not here today to debate what's better in person, what's more valuable, teleworking. I acknowledge and I firmly believe that there are benefits to both teleworking and in-person interactions. What I am here to say, though, is that the county has a philosophy, and departments and agencies have guidance, and we will be moving forward with that. And I'm going to do my best to support the department in transitioning smoothly through that. And I want to make sure that we do our best to do that and support our people in that. So James, I see what you're saying, and I'm not going to comment on that because that isn't what my charge is. That we could all talk about that for hours on end. What I can do is answer the logistics on the next steps about how this will be rolled out and how I can best support us in having a smooth transition. Okay, I'm seeing a couple more. I don't know if I'm starting to, okay, let me just try to keep up with them one-on-one. In line with the county's carbon footprint goals, the ability to minimize and save taxpayer monies on facilities and continuance of the healthier work-life balance, lowering of traffic and emissions on the roadways. Would you allow department heads and managers, allow those on the ground level make more flexible decisions to allow workers to have different telework arrangements? I'm not sure that I'm entirely following what the question is. It sounds like you're asking if green is part of the decisions on telework, if I'm understanding what you're asking. The county overall, I think, does have goals for green, meaning emissions and savings for carbon footprint. That definitely is larger discussions overall. But as I said earlier, right now there is a continuity or consistency that the county is achieving. And that's really what I'm here to talk about, is how I can support the department in doing that in a more supportive way and trying to make that transition smooth. So yes, the county does have those in a larger sense. But right now, in terms of the directions we've been given, the telework agreements on a case-by-case basis largely will be informed by business needs. I think I answered your question, but if not, then maybe it could be a verbal question. The next question I'm seeing, I think our concern is because J office was hit dramatically with a high number of COVID just recently. Can we request more frequent wipe downs of equipment in common areas like what we had during the beginning of COVID? That I think, talk to your manager, and that could be discussed with central services. I think that's a fair thing to have a discussion about. We still have telework days in our public service agency. I'm not sure if there's a question there. It seems like that's a statement. And
there's no
yes.
question. It's just a
Okay.
statement.
Yep, I agree with you. Yes, we do still have telework days. We still have telework. We have the telework, per the telework policy, there still is option for teleworking agreements and teleworking schedules. Yes. Yep, I agree with you.
Angela, excuse me, Angela. I'm sorry. I was the one that you were kind of convoluted on that longer
Yes.
question
Please.
regarding the carbon footprint. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
this obviously changed. There is no norm. The new normal is now. It's not what it used to be. And like going back to that thinking is pretty archaic in the same sense that we were also still using so many models that were archaic and not using the technology to adapt to the needs of our customers and of our employees. So what I was thinking or requesting or asking is in the sense that a department head knows their operations. Like I know for a fact in our department, we could run our department on 5 people in office every day, and we never have people in our lobby and those kinds of things. Even though we are social services, we are in a department that has clients that do walk in time to time. We have always covered those needs pre and post pandemic. And people have changed their lives. Everyone's life is completely different now. Like your staff and countywide staff throughout the county are no longer those same people that had those lives pre-pandemic. We live in different places. We have different schedules. We have changed our lives with our families to be in a position that we're, as you said, we're forced to be in, but now became the new normal. And I'm just wondering, why is there such a, maybe not so much, because it sounds like, oh, we're going to toe the county line and do what executive management says. Why is there not more of, hey, like our staff can do it. We support our staff, even having different arrangements 4 days a week if this person can do it. And they're meeting their goals and they're meeting their clients' needs. I mean, isn't that the balance that you would want for your employees and your staff, rather than just taking whatever comes down the pipe from the executive team? Because none of us live those lives anymore, for staff that has been steadily teleworking. Some staff didn't have that opportunity based on job function or, what they may do with, their daily routine at work. But in general, our staff has been able to do that, and we've changed our lives. Like I'm 2 hours away from work now. That's where I live now. I can't even afford to live in that area, but we're being forced to come back into the area that you guys don't pay us enough to live in. So like all these considerations should be like, it would be nice to have support from our agency heads towards executive management, towards the CEO's office, you know, to support those things, because we would love to see the numbers on pre and post pandemic efficiencies and workloads and customer service, you know, because that allows us to also have some information instead of it just blindly being what we want, excuse my French, butts and seats, because that's what they feel is the culture. If they ever asked what the culture was, they would realize that's not the culture. That's what they want. That's not what their employees do. The employees are happy doing what they do now because this is our new life, you know. So apologies for the
Yeah.
long-winded comment, but you know, that kind of sums up, along with all of the other benefits that come from it, you know, infrastructure cost savings, road savings, traffic savings, accidents, deaths, all those things can happen on the roads. And if there's no reason to be there, it seems like a foolish errand to have those things continue or be brought back, if you get my drift. And I'm sure you agree with a lot of those sentiments. I know you have a position that you play in the organization, but it would be nice to see, you know, from our manager and our SSPM, from you guys on, you know, on the executive level or administration level, kind of going to bat for us, because we've done a great job for you, you know. And to just say, oh, well, we're just going to do whatever they say, regardless of how it is, it'd be nice to say, well, my SSPM knows that this guy's going to do all his work and never have anything pending and always call back his clients. And why does he have to be here 3 days a week when you're inconveniencing him and his family, you know, because you can't pay me enough to live there. So I'll digress at this point and go back to mute. But if you could kind of say something to that sentiment, or, you know, reply. I tried to cover as much as possible because this is something that's been on our minds for many years, because it's actually been a fear. It's actually been a fear of staff, and from all the staff that I know, nobody's happy about this. And I know people that are going to be quitting because of this as well. And this is kind of the disruption that happened, but yet we still want to live in the past. So thank you for letting me speak, Angela. My name is Neil Chana. I'm an eligibility worker, eligibility worker in foster care. Sergio is my SSPM. We're over there at 373. Just so you know who I am, because I don't know what my thing on Zoom says. I just kind of jumped into Zoom like really quick. So thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Neil. And Neil, thank you for acknowledging, I'll just say, my role in the hierarchy. I'll put it like that. You know, I try to be as transparent. I don't say try. I am a transparent person, and I openly say when I can't speak further, right? What I can say is I just want to reassure you, everyone in this meeting, really just everyone in DEBS, that you have strong champions, not just in DEBS, but in SSA overall. The sentiments, the needs, the work ethic, the incredible work that everyone does is strongly advocated for at all levels of leadership in the county. What this change means, and, you know, to your lives, and the incredible work, the productivity that we have seen. I'm not even going to say despite, but because of the teleworking, and, you know, in spite of the pandemic, that has not gone unnoticed, and has been displayed, shown, conveyed to levels of leadership. That all being said, you know, this movement is truly because the philosophy of the county strongly believes in the value of in-person interactions. Now, the value of everything we've learned with the teleworking and the virtual capabilities, and honestly, the connections you get from being able to ping someone at any time, we've learned a lot from that. But that doesn't negate how strongly leadership feels about in-person interactions, and that we have lost some of that through the pandemic. What I'm really trying to emphasize, though, is without, I'll just be honest, getting myself in trouble, I don't want people to believe that how much the meaning of this change has to our people has not been elevated. You know, I'm going to pause there because I don't think it would be right for me to speak further on that. Because like I said, you know, my job, I have a job in this county. I have a job as the department head. And at this stage, my job really is to execute this transition and really to support this department in making that go smoothly. And that's really what, that's really where I need to be and what really is the best thing for me to do to support this department. But I don't want people to believe that it's a matter of there was no advocacy for what was important to people. I know that feels like I'm being, what some people say, I'm being a politician or I'm being cagey or whatever those terms are. But you know, that's the best I can do right now, because that is my role in the department. Okay, I see. So Rosanna's saying this is a statement, not a question. Agree, the cost of housing in Santa Clara compared to SEC salaries are not aligned. I want to encourage everyone that aren't happy about this to change and tell our policies to participate in unions meetings. This contract negotiation time. Yeah, Roseanne, I recognize that was a statement, not a question, but active involvement in what you believe is the right thing. I would never discourage that, from being involved in your union to voting to, you know, having your voice heard is never a bad thing. That's why I always want these forums to be open. I do my best to be transparent. And when I can't, I say I can't be transparent, or I can't comment on that. I try to be very open about that, but I always want you to feel that lines of communication are open, and that I'm open. So yeah, Roseanne, rock on. Okay, I know we are a little bit past 4, we're a little bit over time. I hope this was helpful. Again, like I said, always want to make these helpful and useful to people, always open to feedback on how we can make them better. My hope, I have not mentioned this to my DEBS Connect team, so they're probably going to shoot me, but I hope that we could start doing some of these as hybrid, meaning we can do these in an office and figure out a way to do them virtual. I know that's a huge lift to do that, but I really appreciate and value actually interacting with people. So no, I think that was your name. No, I know your phone says Britt, so I keep getting distracted by that. But thank you for being brave and actually speaking to me, because I really value interacting directly with people and having that conversation. So thank you for doing that. I really, really appreciate you for doing that, because I know that that's not always easy to do. So I appreciate you for that. But I'm going to wrap us up because I know we're a little bit past 4 o'clock, and I look forward to the next one of these that we do. Let's see. We've got a couple of announcements. I think, Anita, what we had, just a general reminder of the importance, even though COVID technically is winding down, always the importance of making sure that if you are not feeling well, put those masks on, don't come to the office, take advantage of the right things and make sure you're being cognizant of that. Did we have another reminder, or was that it? I think that was it, right? That was just sort of the general reminder we're always tacking on now. Okay, I'm going to take that as that's it. Okay, I'm going to wrap us up. Thank you so much, everyone. I see we're at about 180. We're wrapping ourselves up. Oh, thank you. That's right. T+7. We've got a post go live survey that starts, I believe it starts today. It'll be open till April 26th. You guys remember we had the T-3 or T-3, T-6, T-12 survey. They come out from CalSAWS. It'll be coming from bsouth@deloitte.com. You should be getting them today. They are anonymous. They just help Deloitte and then us get sort of a pulse check on where we are. So if there's things that we need for support, then Deloitte and we can sort of advise or consult on what we might need to do and point us in the right direction. So people can look out for that email and then respond. They are anonymous. That really does help. So please be on the lookout for that and respond. I understand they're very quick. Average time to complete is 5 minutes. So really, really appreciate that if you can respond to that survey. Again, from bsouth@deloitte.com. Look for that in your email today. Really, really appreciate your effort there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope that this was helpful and timely. And again, always looking forward for people's feedback. Feel free to reach out. I think, Tom, this is probably the contact point, but I'll ask the group and see if we can have a contact point for feedback. If there's anything that can be improved about our general DEBS Connect process, always looking forward to that. Thank you, everyone, for participating and keeping that chat really live. It just is very, very helpful and really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.